really took essentially a small, well, I was going to say space administration to make this project, and it did have a very kind of strange evolution, which hopefully we'll be able to talk about at some point in the future in some sort of publication. But when Denise first agreed to, kind of shepherd this project to its conclusion, she gave me a really nice present, which was a book of collected writings about science fiction, so excerpts from science fiction. And two things really stuck out at me. One was Ray Bradbury's definition of science fiction versus fantasy. Science fiction is something that you don't want to happen but will. And fantasy is something you want to happen but never will. And that really sort of began to frame my thinking on this piece. And then I encountered another quote by Bradbury later, which became really relevant. He was once asked in an interview in 1980 in Providence, Rhode Island, by a reporter from the Providence Journal-Bulletin, what his advice to young writers would be. And Bradbury said, go to the cliff, jump off, and build your wings on the way down. Well, this project would have had a very kind of ungainly and graceless fall were it not for the team of people that I began to sort of con into working me on this. Some of them had to do it because they said work with him, and then others sort of found their way to the project. And just to give you an idea of like what that is, I'd like everybody that worked on this project to come up here for a second. So if you could all, if you contributed an idea, if you physically worked on it, if you came over and helped me cut stuff out late at night, if you edited video, if you were part of the management team, right, of Mass MoCA, if you agreed, to help out in some way. So anyway, this is my.
That's quite a bit of your audience.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be another opportunity for you guys later on, I promise, somewhere. I'll be getting in touch. So anyway, this is part of my launch crew, and teams don't really kind of fully, finally gel, I think, in the end, unless they have uniforms. So if that box could be brought over here. And let me just say, really, truly, there are so many people here that contributed tremendous amounts. I mean, for me, this project was like actually being in graduate school, but more fun than graduate school, if you know what I mean. And I mean, I learned about solar power from Chris Kilfoyle. Alan Oakey, my video editor, who brought this kind of incredible musicality to editing the video, was instrumental in sort of creating the ambiance inside the ship. Working with Mass MoCA's graphic designers like Liz and Jamie was great. And students who sort of came out of the woodwork. The daughter of a high school friend who wanted to do an art project for the summer brought her boyfriend up, and they worked on it. My incredible assistant, Julia, who's a great young artist in the Boston area. Kim Thaler and Jason Wilcox, who are on the installation crew. John Carley and Richard Criddle. Where is Richard Criddle? You know why I didn't notice him? Because he wasn't saying anything. I have to say that truly the part about this being like graduate school, I mean, a lot of that stems from just being around Richard and watching the way that his mind works in terms of solving a problem, finding some incredible thing that he could deliver to the project. Speaking of incredible things delivered to the project, an incredible person, Deborah Coombs. If you get to go up and see the ship today, Deborah made a magnificent stained glass window based on one of my collages. And I have to tell you a quick story. I know it's cold, but I worked on, when I came up with this idea for the stained glass window, I thought, well, this is an incredible early sort of manifestation of the presence of the sun in artworks. I mean, it's an incredibly old process. And so, the only source of light in this ship is going to be a stained glass window. This was an idea early on. So I approached Deborah, was thrilled that she was interested in doing it. So I made my first digital collage as the sort of working drawing for this. And I worked with a student to help me with it, and you know, I make things incredibly slowly in my hand, but this time, you know, we did this very slick thing, and I was very excited. It was at a 1-to-1 scale. I brought it over to Deborah, and I unrolled it, and she took a look at it and said, "Huh, it's not very interesting, is it?" And, you know, I said, "What do you mean? I'm a professional artist. I do this for a living, you know." And she said, "No, I just really wanted to translate one of your collages." And I said, "Oh, I get it now." So it took me, I mean, that was a crushing experience, I have to say. It took me a whole year to make that new image. But my objective when she saw it was to say, "This is impossible." Which is what she said, but then she did it anyway. And when you see it, it truly is magnificent. I'm going to go on and on. Steph Zielikowski and Tanya Zoll, Jacques, who's new to the crew. Steph and Tanya were students at the College of St. Rose, and really we bonded in a way that I haven't for a while with students. Christopher Kilfoyle, who has arguably installed solar for longer than anybody almost in the United States now at this point, was not only a kind of technical advisor, but a sort of philosophical mentor to the project. Eric Kearns, who brought the project initially and then ran away to get a better job.
After 2 years.
It's all about patience. So at any rate, these are some of the people that worked on this project, and I'm deeply grateful to you all and others who are not here. So I wanted to get you some uniforms, and a quick story about when we got the ship. Sorry, when we don't forget to tip your servers. When we got the ship, a guy named Mike Ross brought it out from Ohio. His daughter's name was Haley. We learned in conversation, which is interesting because Haley began working on the project. And one of the interesting features of the ship was a decal near the door, which you'll see, it's still on the ship, that says the Great Seal of the State of Ohio. And, but it looked a little bizarre, and it was because the blue ink in the sky had dissolved over the years. This decal was put on in the 80s, but underneath it there was another decal that was put on the 70s, which was from the Good Sam Club, which is a recreational vehicle association. It's a guy with a halo over his head. So the ink had faded away from the sky, and you could see this sort of features of the sky poking through. It looked like a strange kind of godhead, a sort of Buddha with light bursting from its head. So I was thinking that my aeronaut, Donald Carusi, needed some sort of mission patch, like the Apollo 11 patch with the eagle landing on the moon, right? And so one day I was looking at those words, the Great Seal of the State of Ohio, and my character puts himself into orbit into this hermitage to study the sun and to sort of complete his obsession, to be near the object of his affection. And I just took a pad of paper and I rearranged all those letters to say, "Fearless of heat, I go to eat the hot star." So this became his mantra and his mission. So, with the help of Jamie, who's another graphic designer here at Mass MoCA, we put together some t-shirts. Reproducing that image on the front, right? Sorry. And then on the back it says launch crew. So I got a variety of sizes, guys. This one's an XL, and I've done from XXL down to well, you don't need the S, but so if you want to take those, and then there's a little bag over there, a yellow strand bag. Thank you, John. So there's also an edition of embroidered patches. Right? You're going to want these. But for now, you guys get to take them. So take some and pass them on. What's that? Yeah. So anyway, I'd like, if you would, to acknowledge the incredible contributions of my friends here. Thanks very much.